So I got the ISO. This is the kit lens. So I got the ISO at 100. It's f3.5. That's the as there we go. That's as shallow. It can go with the kit lens. And I'm in the shade. Let's darken it just a bit. Darken it quite a bit actually. So, and this is the kit lens at 15, and it seems to still be able to track my eye even though I have sunglasses on. Alright, still ISO 100, f3.5, 1/50th of a second. Now it's probably a little bit tighter because I had it off, but now because this camera has off digital stabilization, then it also has the enhanced, but enhanced like zooms in a lot. So this is 15, but with the digital IS on, walking, because there's no stabilization, I believe, in the kit lens, and there's none in the primes. This right here should roughly be about almost about a 22mm equivalent, and it's f4.0, still ISO 100, and I got about 67% dark on this Promaster variable ND. But with this one, like all the way out, it's pretty bright, and it has the hard stops at each end, the Promaster does. Then all the way that way is completely dark. So we have it kind of like this, something like this. So this is kind of tight. My arm's all the way out. So alright, we will switch it to the 22 f2 and see what that looks like. Now it should be roughly the same focal length, but it'll be a f2 instead of a f4, so the background should be a lot more blurred. Then also we'll be using the K&F variable ND, so we'll see if there's any kind of difference in like color cast and contrast and sharpness and all that. Alright, so this is the 22 f2 ISO 100, 1/50th of a second. This is the variable ND at its lightest. So if we darken this up to something like that, where it's close to, that's like all the way right there. So I can bring it in just a touch, and something like this. And like I said, this is with the digital IS. Maybe I can turn it off here for a second. We can see what actually it looks like without it. So this is like no stabilization at all. No in-body, no in-lens, no digital. So this is what this looks like. This is how wide it is. My arm is stretched all the way out. So we'll try digital next. Regular digital IS. So we can see if there's any. Oh yeah, I can get like a on the end with the mirrorless. See what kind of like bokeh and blurry background we have. Still 1/50th of a second, f2, ISO 100, and this is with my arm stretched all the way out. So next we will try the enhanced. Alright, this is the enhanced. This is like super zoomed in, super cropped, but it should be the most stable of all of them. Like I said, 1/50th of a second. f2, ISO 100, close to max on this ND filter. I think it says like 2 to 400. And this is with my arm stretched all the way out. So we'll go back to there's off, this regular, there's off, regular, and enhanced. We'll go back to the regular. So I think that's a pretty good balance. But you can see see if there's kind of any issues with the color and whatnot. That still feels like it should be. But alright. Depth of field's fairly fairly blurry and blown out. So we'll see how this looks. I want to try to take some photos with this as well. I may try to let's take off so this is the ND off. Let me increase the shutter speed to, there's kind of a hack you can do. You can kind of increase the shutter speed so you can keep a blurry background of like a low ISO, but your motion may be weird, where it's doing like 2,000 frames a second. But if you're in a pinch and you don't want to lose your depth of field, this is one way to get by. When I was doing the Uber Eats stuff, I had like no ND filter, nothing like that, so if I needed to, I just increase the shutter speed. So let's that's what this looks like here with the sky. Let's put this back on. Alright, back down to 1/50th. How's the sky look? The same? Different? Not as blue? Blue? Then, like I said, I'm going to grab some photos as well. It's just I got to figure out what to take photos of. Maybe just some basic stuff around here. Maybe I'll take some photos with the ND. I try to take the same photo without the ND and see what kind of issues, if any, we'll run into with the variable ND. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to insert this. I figure this is probably the best way to look at the images here. We'll kind of look at the raw files. Obviously, if I went through and I edited all of them, I could all make them look a certain way. So, looking at the raw files and bridge here should probably be the quickest way to look at it. Then we'll get back to finishing the vlog here. So what I did is, like, I did 3 photos. I took 3 different sets of photos, and each photo I did with 2 of them with the ND. So one of them kind of strong with the ND, one a little bit lighter with the ND, then another one I took the ND completely off. So that's what I did with this, to try to check to see if there's any kind of, because you can definitely see that there definitely is that color cast I was talking about, because this is without the ND. Because you can see at the bottom here, I'm using like 1/25 hundredths of a second at ISO 100 to compensate. And this one's 1/400, and this one's 1/800. So this was the ND on, but a little bit lighter. And this was the ND on still, but I went darker, so I had to like lessen the shutter speed. So definitely with photos itself, you can probably edit some of that green color cast that you get, but with videos, technically you could, but I'm not going. I'm actually filming this individual part maybe like 2 weeks later, and I'm probably going to send that K&F Concept back because of the green color cast. I actually went and ordered another Promaster ND filter that's going to be a 55mm. That's going to be for my mirrorless setup and a couple of step down rings. But I don't know if it's I mean, the text looks, I guess we can like zoom in really close right here, and see if there's, so you can see kind of some green purple with that. That is it. It still seems to be there, which is something you can easily like edit out. But I didn't know if the filter itself was causing that. So the next image I just took a tree, but I think the issue with this is like there was some changing light here that kind of like messed up these sets of photos. But the first one is using strong ND, right? No, the first one's using light ND. The second one, I cranked it up because I'm at 1/60th now instead of 400 for this one. Then this one I'm at like 1/25 hundredths of a second. But the light kind of came in and messes this one up, I believe. There's like clouds moving in and out that day. So the last set here is at the park bench, which I think the next video should be me at the park bench here talking. But I don't know if it's because this one is 1/200th of a second, so it's ND light. This one's 1/80th. You can kind of see that it's almost, I don't know if this is the filter itself that's making this feel a little bit soft, or maybe it's like the shutter speed of 1/80th. It might actually be the shutter speed for that one, because that one looks pretty crisp actually. As we go down to this one, let's move this over just a touch. And this one is 1/500th of a second, and this is without the ND. If we go back to the first one, I mean, there might be a slight I mean, every time you put more glass in front of your lens, you can like lose sharpness. But that one's definitely way softer, but that could be where it's 1/80th. I mean, the golden rule usually is like 1/60th if you're handheld, but there's no stabilization in the lens. So, but if we look here, this is without any ND filter, and this is with. So there definitely is. I think this one's actually blurry throughout because it's blurry up here as well, as compared to that one's a little bit better, and that one's so that one may just be shaky without, but this one's ND, lighter ND, and this one is without. So ND and then without. This is ND and this is without. That one's kind of a bad example though. This one's ND and this one's without. But you can definitely see that green I was talking about. So that seems to be, like I said, like I'm not recommending this filter. Even in the previous video that I put up, the initial unboxing, I'm not putting any link or anything because I don't think people, it was Amazon choice, so I figured I'd give it a try. Because some things that are cheaper are as good, if not better. But I figured I'd give it a try. It's not working for me. I'm returning that. But like I said, I got the other Promaster filter coming in. So we'll cut to the next segment, which should be me talking at the park bench. All right. So this is handheld. This is the onboard mic. This is my arm stretched all the way out. Like no vlogging tripod or anything like that. I took a couple of shots. One of a sign, one of a tree, then like some benches. Here. This is still 1/50th f2 ISO 100 with the variable ND, and this is about 60% of the max. I could go all the way like that, but so this is also testing too if I want to be like super quick, if I don't want to hook up a mic to the side, if I don't want to do a tripod. And this is with the IS on but not enhanced, and like it's like all the way out with my arm, so it's doable that way as well. But it is a little bit on the tighter side. Maybe I'll set up the tripod and stuff, then we'll see what it's like. See how this looks with the light coming in behind me and whatnot. Like I said, still 1/50th f2 ISO 100 and still about 67% on the variable ND. So I turned the digital IS off because I have it on a tripod, so still seems to be picking up my eye for the eye autofocus. So I am curious about the what the colors and stuff look like with both just the lens and also with the variable ND. On the screen it seems to look fine, but I mean, it's hard to tell on the screen itself. You have to kind of like pull it in on the computer and take a look at it. And for comparison really quick, we can throw the kit lens back on and we'll mess around with it too. Take a look here, like how, well, that's actually kind of close, how blown out the background is or isn't. And then we'll compare it to the kit lens as well. Alright, we're at f3.5 because it's as shallow as this goes. ISO 100 still. Actually, in the shade here, it looks like it's see, we'll see how that the background bokeh and all that stuff compares like that. We'll also push it into about, let's say that's close to about the same thing to see how that compares and stuff. I mean, for vlogging itself, I would say the 15. For vlogging, I would say the 15, just because it is wider, would be a lot better. Which kind of makes me want to, which is it's kind of getting a little rambly here, but that's kind of part of the reason I bought this camera with this kit lens, because the other ones have like a 18 to 55, and 18 can be done. Alright, now I have the digital IS on, so it's probably cropped in like a little bit, but still, if you're looking to vlog with the mirrorless and the M6ii or any of the Canon mirrorless, like the kit lens is pretty good. I mean, I guess you can see how this lens compares to the other one, because the other one, obviously, you're getting like the blown up background, which if you're outside vlogging, you may not want that. But like I said, a big reason that I got the 22 f2 was so I can do the podcast, and because I was messing for green screens for a while, but like having to set it up and take it down, just doing that, maybe not want to do them, so I figured I'd just set it up with this camera. So I bought the 22 so I can throw it up and it like kind of blur out the background. I think it should be far enough away that it will work, because I'm almost doing it like a have you seen any of them, like the Today in Art podcast, like on this channel, just like me in the corner, almost like a Twitch stream or something like that. It's like podcasting, talking about stuff. Let's switch arms. But I figured I wouldn't have to mess with the green screen. I can have me in the corner, so there's like less steps I have to do, so I'd be more likely to do it. And also it can blow out the background a bit more, so there'll be like less distractions in the video. But yeah, I mean, we'll go to that next and see how it looks. We'll see how the podcast setup looks compared with the kit lens and the 22 prime. Let's see how this works. Okay, just for reference here, this is my Logitech webcam. It is the C922 Pro Stream webcam. We can use this as a reference for the upcoming footage in comparison. Alright, for reference here, this is the M6ii with the 15 to 45. This is at 15. All the podcast streaming stuff is 1080p. The Logitech's 1080p, and all this will be streamed out at or recorded at 1080p. So this is the 15mm at kit lens, and it's 3.5, and the ISO is about 400. So if we go out to, so this is roughly 18 or 19 at f4. So this should be roughly almost 22 millimeters on the kit lens, and then it's a f 4.0. So we'll switch it to the actual 22 millimeter here, f2, and we'll pay attention to see how the background should disappear. But normally when I'm actually doing the podcast, I'm like in the bottom like corner here, but I figure I'd blow it up to show you what it looks like. All right, so I put the 22 millimeter lens on there. Obviously I put it down to f2.0. I had to put the ISO down to 125. It's at 1/60th because I record this type of stuff at 30 frames per second. If I really needed to, I probably would not use the variable ND inside, although we could give it a try just to see what it looks like though. But I could just, I got a light here. I could like lower if I needed to. So let's just try the variable ND to see what it looks like. Okay, so I just put the K&F. It looks like does it got like a green tint? I upped the ISO to 250, but I don't know about that. I mean, we're just messing around with this here. That's like 640. Is it tinting that bad? Because I haven't watched the footage from outside yet. So about 250. It looks green on the... Let me see if I can just straight. Is it that bad? I'll have to look at it and post to see what it looks like. I haven't looked at the photos yet either, so we'll see. Now it could be... Let me change something here. Alright, I changed it because I had it set in Kelvin like 4200 for indoors. I'm a little overexposed now, but we'll see if this... Let's do... Is it me, or is that definitely adding green to it? I guess we'll find out. All right.